Hi everyone, it's Ayush here. Welcome back to another video in which today we are going to learn about how we are going to insert a document inside the FireStore database. So without wasting any time, let us dive into the video. So first of all, I'm having an HTML document which is containing a simple form with a heading of what do you think is the best programming language. We are going to take the input from the user and we are going to take that input and set it in our FireStore database as a new document's value. So let's go to the JavaScript file and let's see what we have just done till now. Till now, we have just learnt about how we are going to take the reference from the database, how we are going to connect ourselves from the FireStore database, and then how we are going to use the get document function to get the data from there, right? So here's the output. You can see that we are having the output as what do you think is the best programming language as an HTML document, right? But if you see the console, we are having the data that is fetched from the server. So if I go to the FireStore database, you can see the same thing is there. We are having the best language the document with XM8 ID. So the same ID is here as well. And the best language Python is the data inside this document, right? So in today's video, we are going to learn about how we are going to insert a new data, right? So whenever we want to just insert a new data, we need to go inside the FireStore database and click on this add document or add a field to insert a data. But what we can do is we can use some JavaScript code to get it more easier. So we can just make a simple HTML form and we can just grab this form by using its class form, and we can go to the JavaScript file and let's say here let the form is going to be the document dot query selector form, or we can say dot form, so that we can just grab that element, and we can say here form dot add event listener submit. So what do this do? We'll simply say here whenever somebody is going to just submit that form, whatever task we are going to do is inside this callback function inside the add event listener, right? So we are saying that whenever user submits the form, we are going to run a callback function, and this callback function is going to take a parameter e. And what is the e? So whenever we submit any kind of form, what happens? The page auto reloads itself, right? But we don't want it to do so. We want to first fetch the data from the form, then set it in the FireStore database, and then we are going to reload the page, right? For that, what we need to do is e dot prevent default, and this function is going to stop the auto reload. After that, we can just get the data from the form. So let's say let language is equal to form dot query selector. What does this do? So form.query selector simply grabs an element inside the form. We use document code.query selector to grab an element inside the document. Similarly, the form.query selector is to grab an element inside the form. So form.query selector, inside the form we are going to take the input box, right? Because we are having just a single input box here. So we are going to simply grab that only. And even you can use the ID that we are having an ID of language, but in this case I'm simply using the element name. So form.query selector input, and here then I'm going to say here, okay, one more thing. When we are grabbing the input box, we don't need the input box because we are going to set the value inside the input box, not the input box. So we'll say here dot value, then we'll get the value inside that input box as a language, and we'll say here add doc. And what is add doc? Add doc is a function inside the Firebase module. I think it is auto, yeah. So add_doc is a function inside the Firebase slash FireStore module that is used to simply add a document inside the whole collection, or the you can say the FireStore database. So we'll say here add_doc, and this add_doc simply takes the reference of the database as the first parameter. So we'll just pass a reference as the first parameter, and the second is the data, right? What we are going to insert. So that is an array, and this array is going to contain first the key of the data. Let's say best and best, this is a key, and in the value let's say we are going to pass the language, right? Whatever the user have just entered inside the form, we are going to set best to be that language, right? But this add doc returns a promise, so we need to listen to the promise by using dot then, and this dot then is used to listen to the that promise. And after that is all done, means after we have just successfully added the document to the FireStore database, then we are going to simply reset the form. We'll say here form dot reset, and after you do this thing, what will happen is when you submit the form, all the input fields are going to be cleared automatically without even reloading the page. So let me just save this code and let's see what's going to happen. Now if I go here and if I just write any, let's script, right, let's say JavaScript, let's hit enter, and what you can see is it not it reloads, but it just clears the input field. Now you will ask that right now also there is only one field inside the database we want to, right? So if I just reload it, you will see that we are having two fields. First is the best JavaScript and the second is the best Python, right? So this is the way you are going to insert the data inside the Firestore database by using JavaScript. So yeah, that's all for today's video. Meet in the next. Till then, see you.